Hi beauties, this is the wig we'll be working on today in our how to make a closure wig video. I'm just showing you what I'm using and showing you this hair by All Love Hair. So cute, it says I love you. But I wanted to show you really fast the lace closure. I love the closure. It's 12 inches free part, but I wanted to show you because I hardly ever see to where the curls go all the way from the root, and this one does. It was too easy to pluck in my opinion, so I hope it doesn't bald. But look at this, the curl is all the way from the root. It's so pretty, and the lace looks pretty, like a pretty nice brown color too for my skin complexion, but it's not my wig, but so we'll hope for the best. So I've already customized half of the closure, and I'm just showing you with my slanted tweezers. I'm plucking in, like, it is kind of random, but it's kind of organized. It's like pluck some, skip a space, pluck some, skip a space, and you see I separated out the hairs in the front that could potentially be the baby hairs. So after that looks like how I want it to do, I separate like maybe ½ an inch back since it's a closure and not a frontal, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing, but I'm gonna skip bigger spaces this time, and this is just to thin the closure. Nobody's hairline goes from baby hairs to a super full hairline, you know, so I want to try to get like a little bit of a gradient best as I can without plucking the person's closure too much, you know. And always comb out as you're going so that you can see kind of like how much you're taking out. So right here I'm combing everything together, and I think, okay, I'm gonna stop. I like the thickness of it. And then at this point you can still see the straight line. I've taken out this much hair. You can still see the straight line of the hairline, so I'm just going in now. Every other, again, I'm breaking up that hairline, literally plucking like 2 hairs or something like that at a time. So this is the cap I like to use. It's the mesh dome cap, and here is the front. I usually line this up with my eyebrows, and this is the back. You'll see it's kind of tapered, and I usually put that to the almost like my spinal cord. And I just wanted to pop in here really fast, looking crazy, to show you that it fits perfectly. It's a little bit like low on my ears, but according to the hairline and stuff like that, it fits perfect, and that's why I use this cap. Don't mind the bleach in the background, guys. I did not bleach the frontal. I was going to, but then I opted not to. But I wanted to show you how I secure it. I line it up right on the edge of the cap, but I make sure the center of the frontal is like a little bit forward because it pulls back as you start to sew. So just making sure my wig cap is where I want it to be, and right at the edge you'll see me pinning it, because I've made it to where I had like an overhang before and I hated that wig. I still don't wear it. I'm pulling the frontal taut because this mannequin is measured for an exact fit, so I want to pull the closure taut to not have any buckling. After securing the hair out the way, I wanted to show you, this one wasn't that clear, but I wanted to show you my first stitch. I tried, guys. It was so hard to film, sorry. But you know, when you're sewing on these caps with the elastic band, don't sew through the elastic because that is your stretch. So I'm showing you here how I knot my thread. So I just pull the thread behind the needle and pull through, but going through the mesh only, and then through the closure. Oh, this is the second method if you didn't feel comfortable with the first method. But I'm pretty much gonna do the first method throughout the entire wig. But through the mesh only, then through the edge of the closure, loop it around and pull through. And again, now that we're off the elastic, we don't have to worry about it that much, but through the edge of the closure, and you can see the whole time I'm sewing, I'm pulling it taut. All right, so coming to the end, I just wanted to show you how I knot off the end of the sewing. So 3 loops around the needle this time instead of 1, and I just cut it. But I'm like super neurotic, and I went back and tied it like how you would tie your shoelace almost. And this is how it looks when it's all sewn. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, knot it off, and then do the back separately and knot that off. So now it's on there pretty good, it's nice and secure, and I'm shifting it forward on my mannequin head so I can have better access or easier access to sewing the webs at the back. And I'm starting off obviously with the 18-inch bundle. and I will double it, but for my first track I'm gonna single weft it, and then I'll show you how I double it after. So I'm passing the thread through the weft and then only through the mesh. Now guys, I don't know why I did this. I usually do a full track from end of the closure all the way around to the other end of the closure, but for whatever reason I decided to do this nape piece. Either way, the wig turns out beautifully, but I feel like I like my regular way better, so I don't know where my head was when I was making this wig. I think I was watching TV or something. But anyways, I want you to see that I'm going on the very edge of this cap. It's almost like I'm attaching it, like I'm literally just bucking it up against the cap versus sewing it onto the cap itself. And I'm going on the edge of the cap. This way, when the hair is flipped up, or if the person wants to pull it back into like a ponytail or something, then you don't see like a whole bunch of cap underneath their head, underneath their hair, sorry. So I'm just showing you that. And here I'm now doubling the weft for the next track up. So I'm piercing through both of them to attach them together, and then I'm gonna sew one track at a time. So don't pierce through two of them to attach them, or you'll have a really big lump. So my top track is going down first, and then over a little bit to the left, my top track is going down. My bottom track is going down. So the top track is now the bottom track, and the bottom track is now the top track, and then I go through the two of them and make one track. Is that clear, or was that clear as mud? Hopefully you could pick sense out of what you're seeing, even if what I'm saying doesn't quite make sense. So from here, I'm just sewing the two together all the time. So I'm looping around both tracks through the mesh cap and pull the needle behind. And you'll see here I'm taking special pains not to go through the elastic too much. So I sew to the left and then to the right of the elastic. And actually that one looks like it went through. Well, best as you can, don't sew through that middle seam because that's also elastic, okay guys? And that will decrease your stretch. So I usually try to sew to the left and right of that band. So here I'm just doing like a back and forth. I think for this track I sewed it slightly up, but it's not necessary at this point. It becomes more important to curve your tracks up the closer you get to the frontal, the closure. But I wanted to make sure I showed you again. I'm piercing through both wefts, knotting it off, and then I'm going one step higher, securing my top track first, it now becoming the bottom track. I'm showing you here it's separated. Knot that off with the triple loop. Then a little bit to the side, I'm gonna do the bottom one, triple loop it, pull it through. Well, struggle to pull it through. And then sew them both together. There we go. And you see I looped around both tracks, and that's that. So this is one bundle done, and this is what it looks like when she pulls it up. Nothing but hair. And we're gonna go ahead and do the 16-inch bundle. So I just want to show you here, I'm behind the ear part, so now I'm wanting to make sure I'm starting to curve up more. And this is the second bundle installed, and I'm gonna begin to show you why we curve up. So I'm installing the 14-inch across the middle, and the top I will close out with because that's a 12-inch closure. So this part here that I'm sewing, it's just back and forth because it's like in the, like right here it looks pretty high up, but once this wig goes on your head, it will be like at the occipital region, like just before the crown, or I guess that's from the back. So from the top, it's just behind the crown of your head. So it's going straight left to right, straight left to right. And I'm gonna install the 14-inch like that, and I'm installing it with like no spaces because I insisted on cramming every strand of hair into this wig. so it could be big and voluminous. So I'm sewing it super tight together, skipping over the elastic regions best as I can. The reason why you want to curve your tracks is when you sew straight left to right like this, this is a 12-inch bundle, by the way, that I'm starting, and I'm just gonna pick up the 12-inch wherever I ended the 14-inch, okay? But the reason back here where you sew left to right, the hair will fall back, like behind the person. But once you curve your tracks up, like I'm about to show you, once you start getting close to the face, like anything in front of the ear, I curve up. I just do, because you know, when you curve up, the hair falls towards the face, and if you go straight, the hair will fall down, which essentially is behind the person. So you don't really want to be looking crazy. You want it to fall, you know, towards the face, so then you can fix it, put baby hairs, style it however you like. So here I'm showing you how I'm working my track on an incline, and I'm securing it. I'm still double wefting here. Typically I would single weft at this point, but because this hair is curly and it's already gonna cover any lumps or bumps near the front, but this close to the front of the face, I would usually single weft. So if you're making a straight wig, make sure you're single wefting at this point. Like, cut the weft, sew it down, and do it again, and you will keep going like that. Measure, cut, sew, measure, cut, sew. But right now I'm still folding. So I'm folding, it's curved up. I'm just showing you the spacing that's left. It's not altogether even, but I'm going to, this piece I actually cut because I'm like right there by the eyebrow, my eyebrow marker. So I'm going through the mesh, through the weft, and then securing it. I'm sewing that weft in, and then the last track that I cut, it's actually off to the left side of the screen. If you can see that hair on the side, I pre-measured it to make sure I had enough to close the wig out, and then when I had enough, I just decided to fill in with this piece that I'm sewing right now. Okay, so I wanted to show you the space that's left over, and I'm leaving that big space there so that when I sew this track down, I can actually have it kind of flat. But I'm going through the weft, through the mesh of the cap, and through the edge of the frontal. You guys see that? And then I'm knotting it off, and that's what I did to the first stitch. This is the second stitch that you're looking at here, and then the third stitch, I might have gone around it, I can't really tell, but through the mesh, through the very edge of the closure, and our usual loop and pull from making the rest of the wig. So through the closure, wrap the thread behind the needle, pull through. I'm using, my hand is in the way a lot of times because this nylon thread knots so quickly, so I'm having to hold it all the way. But hopefully you can see I closed the wig out the same way that I closed this weft off the same way that I started it. So that's why I came over to show you. I'm going through the weft, through the cap, and then through the frontal. And now I just cut a piece, and my neurotic self is gonna tie it off 84,000,002 times and then snip the edges, and our wig is done. So here I'm just cutting out the excess cap, and I am being very mindful of where I stitch, because the last thing I want to do is cut my thread and have to make over this wig. So I'm staying a good ways off. I don't care how ratchet it looks on the inside, nobody is gonna see that. So yeah, this is what the inside of the wig looks like. I find that the stitching is neat and everything. You can see how close the stitches are together. But yeah, this is the final look. Here's an up close of the closure. If you like this or any other videos that I have done, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Definitely give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.